women in their 30s are sharing life lessons that they wish they learned earlier. And I didn't expect them to be so real. So I was like, okay, this is interesting because obviously, being a woman that's in my 30s and then headed, to the next decade, I was like, let me see if I resonate with this and if this is stuff that me and my friends talk about being in our 30s. So it says, number one, so I think it kind of gets juicier as the article goes on, but it says, if you aren't going to accept most invites, you'll stop getting invited. This is true. This is true. So when you are in your 20s, you're kind of like down to say yes to everything. I mean, let me know if you guys are resonating with this. Go ahead and like it if you like the video, if you are resonating with it. And let me know if you're not. Let me know if you disagree in the comments. But it says, if you aren't going to accept most invites, you'll stop getting invited. This is true. So I think a lot of times what happens is as you're transitioning from the 20s to the 30s, you have more responsibilities, right? Children, career, just worried about, bills, you just have more responsibilities. And so what happens is, we might want to just not go out, right? And we want to just catch up on our sleep from the week, or we had a tough week at work and we just want to relax, right? Instead of going out and especially like there's also a big divide where some women, go off and become wives and like really do the family life early in the 20s. And then some women kind of take more of the career path. And then there's like a spectrum of women that are doing both at the same time, and are able to balance both really well. So what happens is you start to back out, and then you just, the women that are like super single, no kids, they're always, ready to be a part of an adventure, go on vacation, or, go to a dinner, go to a lounge or whatever. And then they will stop inviting the woman that always says no, like, no, it's okay. And then what happens is that woman feels like they are out of, they're like getting left out. That will happen. That's actually happened to me as well. Okay, that's actually happened to me as well. There has been times where I which I'm just like such a homebody now to where I don't mind not getting invited because it's just like I don't have to have pressure to say no because usually I like to be at home these days. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you guys experienced that where you were getting invited a lot and then, you keep saying no? You keep saying no and then you don't get invited anymore. And then you see everything that's going down on Instagram. You see the story, you see everyone's having fun. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. Why wasn't I invited? Like I said no last week, but like, doesn't mean I'm going to say no this week. But you do have to expect that. If you do stop saying and accepting the invites, I have experienced that in my journey being in my adult life. So that is going to happen. And don't take offense to it. All you have to do is speak up and just say, hey, I know I have a busy lifestyle. This actually happened with a really, like, she's basically like a sister to me, a really close friend of mine. And when she was married, she stopped getting invited to stuff because, women that are like single are like going around other single men and like these single environments and, don't necessarily want to put a woman that is married into those environments. But I remember she spoke up and she was like, hey, I'm married. I'm not dead. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's a good point, So just speak up and just say, hey, I noticed you haven't been inviting me. I would, love to still hang out. Like, I know I've been saying no a lot, but, I do want to make an effort to be a part of the festivities. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Let me just see what you guys are saying really quickly. Interesting. I've been following you for a minute and I take your advice. Yeah, Patrick, there's mainly women that follow my page and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just love that there is I think it's so cool that there is men like you that are finding some kind of value, and you always add value to my page as well. So I think it's cool that there's like a co-creation of value. Let's see, from Scotland, that's so cool. Let's see, same here. If a plan is canceled, then that I don't really like. I'm like, yes, yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh, I really don't want to go to this thing, but I don't want to like just not be a part of, the festivities. When I was younger, I actually did, I'm not going to say suffer, but I definitely had the FOMO thing. And I don't know if that's more of something that you go through when you're in your 20s. So, but I don't have FOMO no more. I'm like, if I'm not invited, it means I'm just not supposed to be there. So there's that. So just like little things like that, let it be easy. If you haven't been invited because you've been saying no, speak up and say, hey, I noticed I haven't been invited. I would love to be a part. Now, if you still don't get invited, then that just shows you if they're really your friends or not. So that's also easy too. Maybe you need to make new friends. Okay, so the next point in this article, it said there's nothing wrong with picking a boring job that pays your bills and allows you to have the time and money to do what you love. Don't settle for a job you hate or makes you miserable because it pays you more money, though. If you are passionate about something that will forever leave you stressed about money or about time, think long and hard if this is what you want to do. You guys know I have an entire video about how I quit my 9 to 5 and never look back. I don't necessarily all the way agree with this. I think that while you are at a job that you do not like, I think that you should be exploring and figuring out how to turn your passions into some way of monetization. I do not think that you need to just settle for a job you hate, because this is the thing. When you do that, based on my experience, okay, let me know if you guys have gone through this um, or you disagree. When I was at a job I hated, it spilled over into my fun time when I was off of work, right? On weekends or vacations. I would be so stressed out from work that I would be off on the weekend and then just have a trauma bonding experience with my friends. Like, we all hate our job. Let's go get cocktails and it wasn't like a healthy balance. It wasn't like, okay, I get to clock out of work and then just go enjoy and go learn how to paint new portraits and go to the museum and have fun. It wasn't like that for me. And so if your job heavily stresses you out, I would highly suggest it's never too late. Figure out how to transition out. Now, there is some jobs that they don't necessarily stress you out, like you're just neutral. I think that's fine. I think that's cool. If you have a neutral job and it's like it's cool, it's paying my bills and it doesn't stress me out when I clock out, then I don't think that you necessarily need to hurry up and transition out. I think everybody should be monetizing their passions to some capacity. The world that we live in now is it is the perfect recipe. Like, we have all the tools now to be able to make full-time income from the internet from people all over the planet. So I'm always going to be an advocate for that. I am going to be biased on that, but do think that if you do have a 9 to 5 and it doesn't bother you, I do think that you should, keep the stability and then build your passion on the side. And then that way, when you retire, you don't have to really start from zero. You can just, continue making money from your passion that you had already started while you're working. Okay. All right. So next thing, let me see what you guys are saying about that. I remember how you quit your job. Management can be very stressful. Yes, absolutely. My job is probably boring to some, but because I work from home, but I put my music on and watch YouTube. Yeah, see that, I think that's cool. Like, I think that looking back, if I had a job that wasn't so stressful and a job it just wasn't, it wasn't my personality. I should have never started it to begin with. I just kind of got like stuck in it. If I had like you know what? Okay, let me actually talk about a time period. So I ended up getting this gig job, but it was a 6 month thing. It didn't turn. Usually a gig is like a weekend or two, but this turned into 6 months. It was a 6 month contract, and then we did such a good job with it that it turned into an 8 month contract. I was working in Beverly Hills. I actually loved working there because it wasn't stressful. I was meeting all these really cool people. And when I clocked out, I didn't have anything to bring home. I didn't have stress to bring home with me. It was like, I really left it. The way that the job was set up, like the job criteria, I was just there as kind of like I was managing this really cute Aston Martin shop, and people would come in, they would have, inquire about, the car and different products. And then I would direct them to who they needed to talk to set up taking an Aston Martin for a test drive. And then that was it. And then when I was, and I clocked out, like, and it was fun. So that, if that had actually went on, like if if I had the choice, I would have continued to work that. But I also was taking care of my grandma, so I wouldn't have been able to do that. But yeah, so if you have a job that's neutral, I want to highly encourage you to start something on the side so that way you can transition out and then make your passion full time. Okay, it says don't be afraid to speak. This is the third one. Women in their 30s. This is an article that I read, and I want to see if you guys, what you guys say about it, and I'm going to also be reacting to what I think about these topics. So it says, don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. Respect comes with character, not age. Whoever it might be, that annoying aunt, a random man trying to mansplain, some old lady questioning why you're not married. Ain't nobody got time for that energy. So that's what one of the comments or one of the topics is. So basically it's saying don't be afraid to speak up. This is so true. I was horrible at this in my early 20s. Horrible, horrible, horrible. I think it just comes from kind of being raised to be very obedient with authority. So when I was out in the real world, it just kind of like spilled over into that, and I would get disrespected, treated really, really rudely from, different superiors at different points in my life. But what's funny is that karma always plays out. And I ended up getting promoted way over some people that were my managers in my life. I ended up getting higher positions and became their boss. So, God always like kind of works it out. But yeah, I definitely think that when you're in your 20s, you feel like you can't, especially for women, you feel like you can't really have too much of an opinion in the workplace. I'm not really sure exactly where that comes from for everybody, but I know for me, it definitely comes from kind of having authority, like that respect for authority. But then when I was out in the real world, I'm like, am I supposed to be taking all this kind of heat, from bosses and just different older people like that I would work with? Yeah, I had this one boss. I mean, it really messed with me. It really messed with me. This one boss that I got on this conference call, and it was like a nationwide conference call. And I'm just got promoted to being a district manager. And I was already like a young district manager. I was over 7 different locations at 25 years old in the greater LA area. So it was kind of a big position for like my age, I guess you could say. So, me trying to like really, make my presence known and just show that, yeah, I'm supposed to be here. We have this nationwide conference call with all the directors and stuff of this company. And I get on and I'm like, I said something super basic. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't like it was just like, okay, that was, thanks for sharing, Ciana. So instead of giving me like healthy feedback, my boss at the time just ripped me to shreds. Like just basically was like, do not ever open up your mouth ever again on a call like that. You need to approve. If you are going to speak up, you need to email me before on what you think that you're going to say. Because, we always knew what the topic was going to be about for these conference calls. So she was like, you need to email me before on what you're going to say. And I was taken back. Like I was shook. And that really horrible seed, it really messed with me throughout the rest of my experience being at that job, because I was just like, okay, well, I'm supposed to respect authority. I really wanted to pop off on her and like go off, but I was just like, okay, so I was used to being someone that spoke well and had good points to add and, being a leader. And so because I didn't speak up, I just took it. And so I became like, I felt like it was like I got this like choked up, like knot in my throat. Every time a big conference call would come, I wouldn't talk. We would also have these big, like twice a year, we would have these big meetings, in-person meetings, where all the district managers would fly into this one particular state, and we would have like a 2-week training. Everyone was like, Ciana's just so quiet. Like, I'm not a quiet person. That's not my personality. I'm actually pretty outgoing, and especially in social settings, I'm not like, I don't need to be the main event, but I'm definitely someone that contributes, right? And so all these years, people told me later, after I quit that job, people told me later, like, I always thought you were a really quiet person and you seemed like you were just really, like retreated and all this stuff, because I literally was like, just tucked my tail between my legs and was just like, well, I'm not allowed to talk because I'm stupid. Right. And she didn't necessarily say that I am stupid, but she said what I said was pretty much super dumb. Right. She ended up getting fired, by the way, because she was, uh, the way she was treating all of her team was horrible. And so she ended up getting fired. I didn't know that other district managers were going through what I was going through in my team with her and her belittling and just all that. I just kind of like took that conversation and swallowed it and like attached myself to it. And it really left me behind. So I ended up getting another boss after that boss got fired. And so the boss that I ended up getting, she was like, Ciana, why are you? She's like, I don't know if you know this, but we actually have this all-star list of like young district managers that we think are going to be all-stars in the company that are up and coming. And like, after I've been getting to know you, like, I don't understand what happened? Like, why are you not on this list? Because everybody that worked under me, I had 30 full-time people working under me. They would all say these amazing things about me, like, Ciana is the reason why I this, and Ciana helped me with this, and I want to move up in the company because of Ciana and all these things. And so she's like, it's not adding up. So I told her that story, and so she was just like horrified by the story, but it was kind of already too late. I already kind of didn't like the job anyway. So, but definitely speak up, because if I could go back to that moment, I would definitely tell her about herself and say, you know what, you could have used this as an opportunity to train and develop me and build me up, but you actually tore me down. And that's actually a reflection on the way that you are as a boss, that this is the way that you manage. And this is why you are where you're at. Okay. So getting fired. Literally, I think maybe 2 months after that, she got fired. Okay. So anyways, so number four, also, if you are resonating with this, if you've ever been there, if either, I would really love if you would send this to someone that needs to hear this, but definitely like the video if you're resonating with this. So it says, number 4 on what 30-year-old women are the most afraid of, or what they wish they would have known in their 20s, from this article. It says, don't be so afraid and take more risks. Get out of your comfort zone, travel more while you're single. The sooner you learn to say no without feeling bad, the better. Okay, so there's a lot to this, but okay, let me just read the whole thing. So it says, stop trying to consistently please more than trying to please yourself. Be pickier about the people, especially significant others, you invite into your life. Chill out. And it says, oh, and the right shade of red lipstick is a game changer. Okay. The first part, I definitely do think that when you are younger, in your 20s, you absolutely should take more advantage of that. I don't think I should, I would have, I wish I did a lot of risky things, like cool things, but looking back, I could have like taken even more advantage of that time period. So I definitely agree with that. Get out of your comfort zone more. I definitely wish I would have done that, especially living in LA. There's a lot of cool opportunities and cool like industries you can get into. Not even necessarily just with acting, but just like it's a big market. So there's just like all these kinds of unique industries that are only in big cities. And I wish I would have like kind of dibbled and dabbled in that more. Maybe in the entertainment field, but not necessarily wanting to be an actress. I wanted to be an actress when I was younger, because when I saw Ashley from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I was like, oh my God, I want to be just like that. I think when we're younger, there's people that we admire, but as I got older, I was like, I'm cool on that. The next thing is, stop trying to consistently please everybody. This was probably my number one problem in my 20s. This was probably my number one problem in my 20s, was trying to, and I'm going to read what you guys are saying, was trying to like show up for everybody all the time at every event, in every moment, in every phone call, and every text message, and even staying up super late, getting up super early, being the first one to be there. And at the end of the day, people, there's some people that would really do it for you as well. But it's a very small percentage, because once you also need that same energy back, you'll notice that it doesn't happen. Okay. So I definitely think that I wish I would have had more discernment, and notice that I was kind of being taken advantage of. Not like people were being evil, like trying to purposefully like use me, but I did end up opening up the door to being used, because I was so, I'll be right there. I'll be the number one person you can call. But then when you're doing that for like 20 people, you're just literally getting the life sucked out of you. And I definitely, still, there's even moments in my 30s where I'm like, I should have just, why did I do that? Why did I put myself in that position to say yes when I didn't want to, or whatever? So I have been turning into a professional no sayer, literally saying the word no. Let me see what you guys are saying. Okay, so it says, am I married? I talk about my status in other videos. So you're going to want to scroll down and watch my other videos on that. It says, oh, thank you guys for the compliments. Wait a minute. You are half Indian. Yes, I am half Indian. Um, it hasn't happened to me, but I have a slight fear of that. Um, yes, yeah, exactly. I'm beautiful because of making stuff creations. All right. Yes, I remember when you quit. Yep. Um, okay, wait, hold on. I got a tripod, Ciana. Okay, good. I haven't made my videos yet. I'm still trying to figure out my topic. Okay, but you got a tripod. That's a step in the right direction. That is a step in the right direction. Am I a plus size model? Sure. Oh, by the way, this dress is super cute. So I'll link it down below. It's super cute, actually. It's very flattering. If you want to kind of like, if you kind of are like trying to hide the midsection, this is really good for that. It has like a tie and all that. All right. Respecting authority is important. Just don't let them push you around. Exactly. Um, I feel like you should make a video about advising girls in their 20s. My daughter is 19 and I want her to have all the wonderful, healthy experience. Yeah, okay, I definitely will. Okay. So, okay, next one. I'm going to do two more here on this article because there's kind of a lot. So, I'm going to do two more. It says this one's going to be interesting. This one is interesting. So, it says I would argue against, this is number 6 on the list. It says I would argue against unapologetically putting your career first. In the article, it says, I'm a single 33-year-old girl making 6 figures. Oh, no. Okay. Let me go back up. So that was in response to this one. It says, this is the advice that this article is giving. It says, unapologetically put your career first. I've seen so many women throw away opportunities, move to new cities, and take jobs that they aren't interested in for a guy they're dating. And then someone else after that said, I would argue against unapologetically putting your career first. I do not think that you should put your career first, in my opinion, in my personal opinion. I definitely think that a healthy balance of dating if you want to get married in hopes to get married should be balanced in a harmonious way with moving up in your career, because at the end of the day, what is the whole purpose of life? Like when you zoom out, part of the purpose of life is to connect with other human beings. This is like, I keep getting this weird. To connect with other human beings, right? Joy, laughter, fellowshipping, building memories, um, you know, building community, building a legacy. So yeah, you can go into a job every day and like get all these accolades and all these awards at your job, but then to be honest, like you're expendable at a job. Like, you are. Like at the end of the day, once you've kind of maxed out and there's the new, young, and upcoming person that's just killing it at work, it's like you're kind of just going to be forgotten about in the back. So, these corporations, yes, there is some benefit. Yes, there is, you can learn, you can grow, you can move up, you can make six figures and do all these things. But if you do all that and then the actual real life you're missing out on, I just think I wouldn't advise, like if I had a daughter, I wouldn't say hands down career first. Like I definitely think that a balance of both. Like if it's like, okay, yeah, move up in your company. But then if you meet an amazing guy, or if you're a guy watching this, an amazing woman, and you guys are able to kind of figure this situation out together to where it benefits both of you, the relationship and careers. I think if you can communicate, if it comes down to communication, I definitely think that that's more what I would be encouraging a young girl in her 20s. And of course, the guy would have to be worth it and all that stuff, but that's a whole nother video. But there is a lot of women that have put career first to and put, relationship in the back burner, and then they end up in their late 40s, like, okay, now what? Right. And so I don't know. I mean, to each their own on that. I definitely think it's perspective. I definitely think it's how you were raised. I definitely think it's what you've been through. It's what your preference is. So that is there's no blanket right statement for that. But I definitely, if I were to give advice to a young 20-year-old, it would be to just have some kind of balance in anything that you're doing, harmonious balance in anything, and don't go too hard because you are expendable, right? And yeah, I agree, to some degree. It's like, don't, if you have this life opportunity, this amazing once in a lifetime opportunity, but then this boy who you're not married to is saying to move over here, I would not do that either, right? Like you need to have a ring on your finger if you're going to be making big moves like that. Okay, to where the young man wants to invest in you and provide for you and take care of you and want, you guys co-create a beautiful life together, that's where you're headed, then yeah, there's a ring. There's a ring, so then I'll get on the plane to go. But if there's not a ring, you know, that to each their own, but that's a very risky. You have to weigh out the risk on that, on moving your whole life, and you don't have somebody that's made a commitment on a big level to invest in you and want to marry you. So that's just my opinion. I don't know what the right answer is on that. Again, I'm not like an elder who's been married for 50 years. I definitely think that those kind of people give the best advice in that regard. Yes, exactly. Hallie said, don't make big moves for a boyfriend. Nope. Yes, I've heard of a lot of women regretting going so hard for a career in the expense of personal life. Yeah, it's true. It's like you go so hard, and then when you really wake up one day and you're 46 and you're like, okay, even women in their late 30s, I do think that it's becoming more common now for women to be in their 30s, childless and single, but that's a whole nother video as to why I think that is. And it's not really a good reason either. It's split. It's a split reason, right? So some women it's choice, some women it hasn't been choice, but I definitely think overall it's becoming more common to hear women being single or just getting married for the first time in their 30s, but women that went hard and they're like, I've seen some of these women on YouTube and they're like, I'm in my late 40s, don't know if I'm not even in a position to even freeze eggs, or I think I can maybe freeze eggs, but it's going to be such this big thing. It's just a lot. That's a whole nother topic. But I definitely would have a good balance of career and relationship. Don't put one above the other. They both should coexist together. So that would be my advice there. Next one, it says, so in this article, if you're just hopping onto this live, we're talking about what women wish they would have known in their 20s, that they now know in their 30s, and what they, kind of some of their regrets and what their fears are in their 30s. So it says, listen, here's one important thing that I wish I'd mastered sooner. Stop giving a F about what people think. Be healthy, exercise, in a way that brings you joy. Eat enough veggies, but do it because you like it, not because you're trying to achieve an impossible body standard. And buy clothes in your actual size. Clothes are meant to fit us, not the other way around. I definitely agree with most of this. I will say that as I've been spending more years on the planet, gaining more wisdom every year, I definitely think it's easier to stop caring about what people think because your perspective changes. If you've been doing the inner work and you've been doing self development and self improvement and maturing, you you actually really just don't care. Like you're like so worried about your own lane that you just don't care what other people are talking about, right? So I'll say that for myself. Like I definitely can say that I have to kind of consciously think about what people think about me now. Like where before in my early 20s, I definitely cared about what people thought. And I think most people do. But as you're headed to the like late 30s and 40s, it's like something about it just kind of naturally goes away. At least for me, that's what happened. It wasn't like I woke up one day and was like, I'm going to stop caring about what people think. I just think with life experience and just going through different like occurrences and just ups and downs and trauma and getting over, some just horrific situations, you just kind of like start to look at life in a way that you're more grateful and you're like, okay, I'm headed for the 40s. Like I want to focus on things that bring me joy, bring me laughter, bring me peace. And when you care about what people think, it automatically doesn't bring you peace. Like it's hard. You're not going to be able to keep up with everybody's different opinions. Like there's just too many, especially the internet. There's over 8 billion people on the planet now, right? Half of them are, I'm sure, on the internet. That's 8 billion different opinions, right? So, I mean, or four, my math, 4 billion. And really it's like about 2 billion because, most of those are children too. Some of the people on the planet are still children. But yeah, I mean, it's like you literally cannot, like, even in my own sphere of like, you have yourself, right? And then you have like your immediate, like 5 or 6 people like close to you, maybe like your mom, dad, and siblings, and like your spouse and like children, right? And then like maybe like your best friend is like in that, like where you basically consider them like a family member. And then you have like another layer, and then another layer, and another layer. So let's just say you have a layer of 50 to 70 people that you're like, that have your phone number and that can call you, right? Directly. We'll just like kind of gauge it like that. In that group of people, there's so many opinions already. There's so many opinions. So I've just learned that you just got to stay in your own lane. Hallie, I see you. I see you doing your thing. I appreciate it. But you just got to stay in your own lane and you automatically win doing that. You automatically win doing that. So yes, because what happens is I bended myself, twisted myself, shrunk myself, tried to force myself to see a different perspective and ended up still being left depleted, still being left not there's something else that they have an opinion on that I'm not doing, right? So at the end of the day, you have to just completely lock in and just focus on what's important for your lane and understand that God has put your lane in this direction for just you. And that's just what it is. So I definitely can say that I it's easier to say don't care what people think than actually just going through the motions of life. So if you are suffering from caring about what people think, just know that as you experience life, you will start to naturally, not forcefully, but naturally just be like, you know what? Like I'm good. Like I don't care about that opinion. Like I'm okay on that opinion. And it's okay for people to disagree. It's okay. Like it's okay for people to be like, I don't agree with what you just said. Or it's okay for someone to be like, I think what you said is actually incorrect. And like be woman enough to just be like, okay, let's talk about it. And then you talk about it, and then you could, humbly and happily come to a place where you both agree to just disagree. And then that's okay. Or sometimes, this is a really big one. Oh my gosh. This is a big one that I learned. I learned this one in my 30s. Okay. So you don't have to have an opinion. You don't have to have an opinion. Okay. Hold on. Let me take a sip of my RYZE mushroom matcha. This stuff is so good. So you don't have to have an opinion. There's times where you might be put in a position where they're like, well, what do you think? And then you're kind of like forced to give an opinion when you haven't really like processed it. Because some things you might have a quick response to, but then others, you might look back at a conversation and be like, you know what? I wish I would have articulated that a lot better. Like that actually wasn't what I wanted to say, or it didn't come out the way that it should have. So you are allowed to say, you know what? I don't have an opinion right now about that. I'm going to think about it and I'll get back to you. Or just to say, what's your opinion? Oh, I don't really have an opinion on that. You don't have an opinion? No. Thank you for sharing that. Right? Like you don't even have to have a yes, or you don't even have to pick a side. So, because sometimes what ends up happening is you end up stumbling yourself into this like weird place, and you're like, I didn't even say that, or I didn't mean it like that. And then you're like fumbling around trying to backtrack and say what you actually meant. And it's like, no, if you are not confident enough at that point in time to say your opinion about something, you can humbly say, you know what, I'm going to actually think about that. Well, no, but what do you mean? Or, just tell me what you think right now. I'm gonna go ahead and let you know what I think about that. But that's, I appreciate you telling me your perspective on that. That's fine. You're allowed to do that. So let me just see what you guys are saying. Important topic. Right now, these young ones are lost. Yeah, I definitely agree. I appreciate all of the compliments. You're welcome, Ciana. I'm literally over here translating Greek messages to make sure. Oh my God, that's so sweet. Um, okay. Also, too, I have learned. I have learned I used to like automatically read the comments and the questions out loud, but some of them have been so crazy that you might see me get quiet for a second and read the question first and then talk about it, because sometimes when I read stuff out loud and I'm like, as I'm reading it, it's like, will you show your BOOO boo, BOOBS, or, just, and I'm like, oh my God, I actually read that out loud. You know what I'm saying? So if you see me kind of like, if I say, hey, I'm going to see what you guys are saying, like, I'm not going to read all of these questions out loud because there's just too many bots and too many weirdos that I just think it's so weird. We literally live in a time where people have families that need their help. They have medical conditions and issues themselves. They're in tons of debt. They don't know what they want to, they're depressed. But then you're on a random woman's live somewhere in the planet saying the weirdest stuff. Like you have time to type out stuff. And as you're typing, your mom and dad need your help. Your siblings need your help. Your children need your help. You need to get your own mental health together. You need to go get your cavity fix that you've been having for a long time. You need to go get your blood work done. You need to take care of that ticket that you have that's been sitting on your desk for however long, right? Like go get your life together, dog. Like go get your SHIT together. Like tighten up. Like what are you doing? You're on the internet like a creeper, typing away to a stranger, wanting to get some weird rise out of seeing their reaction. Come on now. Like these bots, these trolls, y'all gotta it's like it was kind of like cool to be a troll. I feel like maybe 7 years ago, like trolls were kind of like taking over, right? Like it's like you could really rile up people, but like it's whack. It's really lame. Like really take a look at yourself. You're in the basement somewhere. You're somewhere hooked up to some kind of internet, searching around on different people's like lives, like the live, wanting to get a rise out of somebody because you said something rude. It's just weird to me. It's just weird. I'm like, I can never imagine myself searching around the internet and just being like, oh yeah, you look like this. Oh yeah, oh, and it's like you're just wasting. That's your life. That's your life. You might want to pick a different route, homie. That's whack. Okay, so let me go to the next one. Ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one. Again, if you're just hopping on live, we're talking about what women are the most fearful of in their 30s. And let me know, the men that are in here, that the men that are still in here, let me know what you guys, if you guys have experienced what I'm talking about, or if you guys agree with what I'm talking. Like if you're in your 30s or your 40s or your 50s, and these are things that you worry about too. Feel free to definitely add your comment in the chat box. Okay, so it says sometimes, this is another thing. It says sometimes being alone is better than being in the wrong company. This is crucial. It says, right. I also wonder how and why some people are yeah, it is really weird. I almost wish like there was because you don't really know who the trolls are, so you can't like do a documentary on them unless like trolls came forward and was like, yeah, I'm a recovering troll addict. And like went to a troll rehab, and then you like can take you can like analyze them and do all these tests on them to see why their brain is working the way that it is to troll people. Like I would love, I don't know if that might happen in the future, but like that would be really cool actually. I would watch a whole documentary on that. If we could figure out why people, it's kind of like, you guys know, remember the show Catfish? I think it still plays actually. And then the people actually come forward, and then you can understand their mindset. You're like, okay, well, why'd you do this? What happened with this? And you really end up finding out that, because trolls and catfishes are different in the sense of they just want to build an actual relationship, and they actually want, like, they don't want to offend you, they want to connect with you, right? They want to actually think that they're in a relationship with you. So when it actually they get caught and they're like, completely don't look like the person that they were portraying themselves to be, and then you learn about the person, and it's really sad actually. You actually have compassion for the person, that they were, maybe beaten when they were, in their younger years. They were had, SA, if you guys know what I'm talking about, abuse in their younger years, that they, maybe were heavily bullied, that they, had issues with their parents on a very deep level. Like it's almost like you actually feel really bad for them, that they they lack so much self-love that they're willing to put on someone else's face and have a full-on relationship with another person through the internet. So that, it makes sense to me. But trolls, it's like the opposite. And then like it's not like trolls are coming forward, and you know what I'm saying? Like saying, hey, I need to get help. I'm a troll. So if there is something like that, let me know. Let me know if there is something like that. I would be very fascinated to understand the behavioral science behind why they do what they do. So, yes. So the conversation that we're having is what women fear the most in their 30s, and then what they also wish that they would have known in their 20s. But some of the topics are kind of relate to everybody and they can benefit everybody. So that's what we're kind of finding out here. So it says, Mr. 358, it says, just turned 33, and wow, the mental shift is crazy. Feels like I'm hyper aware of everything. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see what else you guys saying. Oh, a catfish? Oh, okay. So Hallie answered that for me. Okay, perfect. Yep. So don't worry about they have not embodied their pursuit. Exactly. You get it. Embody pursuit. Embody pursuit. I'm actually going to be getting a hoodie with my trademark on it, Embody Pursuit. So stay tuned for that if you want to be part of the Embody Pursuit tribe. Um, okay, so next one. Oh, do I want to talk about this? I don't talk about stuff like this usually. I'll just read it and then I'll see what you guys say. Because my page is about health, fitness, and mindfulness and beauty. These topics, maybe in the future, I'll make a whole nother channel about relationships and sex and stuff like that. But I just don't feel called to be in that space on this channel at this stage of my life. But I'm just going to read it. So it says, after a lifetime of hearing about the importance of safe sex, I fully expected the men this person slept with. I don't want someone to clip this out and then say that I said it. I fully expected the men that this person slept with to be serious about condoms. I had no idea that I would have to advocate and fight for something so basic. I mean, yeah, that's, only thing I'll say on this is yes, be safe. And you really should be, that's all I'm going to say about that. So what's your guys' opinions about that? I don't know. Maybe I'll do a whole video on that, but that's a really big topic just to kind of like be short and sweet about. But hands down, that is a huge, huge thing, huge decision in your life. And you should not be just willy nilly with that at any stage in your life 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 90. Oh my gosh, this is so weird, you guys. So I watch this is you're gonna want to hear this. This is a very weird, I don't know, bizarre fact. There's like, so you guys know, if you guys have been following me for a while, I took care of my grandmother with dementia for a long time. So I have a lot of articles and I have a whole Instagram about just caregiving with the elderly. So I get access to like information that is just not trending really. So in the elderly communities, you'd be shocked that there's a crazy amount of, how do I say this? There's a lot of unprotected sex going on in those facilities, like amongst the people that are 80, 90, and they're not practicing safe sex. And there's STDs and stuff like that popping up. Like, I was like, what? Like, that is happening? That is happening in these elderly places? So that's just a whole other topic, a whole other video. Oh my God. Well, let's kind of relax on calling them geezers, but what does geezers even mean? What does that even mean? um, okay, just reading your comments here. It says, um, oh, as a dude, I think anything I say could trigger a woman without me saying, you know what? This is so true. This is actually a lot of women need to actually really listen to this. Men are talking about feeling like they can't really talk, like they can't really have opinions or say something because everything is always a trigger warning. And you're not the first. I've heard several men that are like in their 20s, early 30s that like they'd be allowed to say certain things. If you can give a very specific example, that would really help with what I'm trying to say. But I have heard other men say that where they're just good men with good jobs, good morals, good values, want to do well in life, want to find a nice girl to, you know, date for marriage and stuff like that. And they just feel like they can't say certain things. They feel like they can't even pay on a date. Like some of these men want to pay on a date and are getting shut down. I'm a woman. I could pay for my own meal. And I'm like, oh, whoa, like, is that where we're headed? So let me know specifically what you're talking about, because I think that's a very interesting thing that not a lot of people are really talking about, but I have heard men talk about this. So, um, yeah. I know that I know that geezers is referring to old people, but like what is it like what is a like what where did that come from though? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like a geezer, like is a geezer or it's just like, you know, cuz sometimes we say things and we're like, where did that even come from? Um I'm trying to think of a saying where we all say it and we're like we don't even know. Like if we say well, we know what this one is, but like I'm trying to think of one. I can't think of one right now. Um But what is a geezer? And like why is it an old person? Like what where did that come from? Oh, it literally means an old man? So if I were to look up geezer right now, sorry, I'm gonna look it up really quick. I learned, you know, you learn something new every single day. Um, if I were to look up geezer right now, what does geezer mean? Oh, it does. An old man. I always thought it was like an offensive term. You know why? Because when people say it, they're like, these old geezers, you know, it's not, it's like, I feel like it's like offensive, like, but oh, okay, well, it's an older man. So never mind. I eat my words. I take it back. I thought it was something that was offensive. Um, usually male though. Oh, it says it's a rude word. Okay, so it is kind. It kind of has like a rude. It is an old person, but it has like a rude undertone or like connotation to it. Oh, it's commonly used in the U. Oh yeah, it does say that here. It says a British. Okay, informal British. Okay, you old geezer. That's funny. That is funny. Okay, so the next one on this article. I mean, this is kind of fun. At first, I was going to end, but I don't know. This is kind of like getting interesting. So it says, okay, this is an interesting one. So again, if you're just tapping in with us over here on this live, we're talking about things that women are terrified of or fearful of in their 30s and what they worry about in their 30s and then what they wish they would have known in their 20s. And I'm reading off of this article that was polled to several thousand women, and these were like the general common denominators. So it says, be open to new friendships as you grow older. You realize you've outgrown your friends you grew up with. This is very true. And it's kind of sad, but it's like not at the same time, because sometimes some of us will hold on to the person that they were at 15 or 16 or 22 or 27. But not only did they change, but you also changed too. And it's not always that one is better than the other. Sometimes it is, right? But sometimes you're the person that needs to kind of like level up to them. Some, you know, I know it's easy to sometimes always put things on other people like, well, yeah, they changed or they're different. But sometimes you might be going through a weird season where you need to mature up and they've outmatured you. So it goes both ways. But I definitely, yeah, like embrace that you had your junior high friends, you had your high school friends, you had your college friends, you have your coworker friends that were there for, some were there for 6 months, some were there for 6 years, some have been there, they're still there in your life right now, and you don't know when that exit's going to happen. And that's okay. You know, I think that when you're young, you think, oh, this is my best friend for life, you know? And I definitely have learned that girlfriends come and go, and that's just what it is, and it's okay. And I hopefully added value to their life. They've in some way, shape, or form added value to my life. We had laughs, we had jokes, we had fun experiences, we learned things from each other. And like that's okay. But definitely it's okay to it kind of goes back to the one that said sometimes it's better to be alone than being in the wrong company. It's like sometimes you feel forced to be around friends and you just don't have that same level of fun and comfort and peace anymore. Like their own. Oh my gosh, it was a bee that just like fell. Like I think I don't know, hurt its wing or something. But yeah, it's okay to kind of like back out, take a step back, and just like kind of be more in solitude as opposed to always being around friends that you just don't have that same level of excitement or peace or joy or good times. Maybe you're just in two different stages, two different seasons, right? I've seen some things like that happen this year with some people that I know, people very close to me, where they're just realizing that they're in two different seasons, and like that's okay, right? And sometimes what happens is you could actually be super close and then grow apart, and then 10 years later come back because now you're on the same page. We've seen that happen too. So it's kind of just like this beautiful harmonious flow of life. Like it's kind of a, like our life is like a song. It kind of like goes up a little bit and down, and then you're kind of like crisscrossing with other harmonies, and it's just kind of like this beautiful melody that that our life turns out to be, and like all of it's okay, right? So going into your 20s, if you find that some friends are kind of you're distant from, or they're getting distant from you, don't take it offensively. If anything, God's making more room for other opportunities, other people, other mentors, other individuals that are going to level you up. He's just bringing those type of like making room for those people in your life. So I've definitely seen that happen with me, and I've also noticed that I had a lot of friends in my 20s. Now that I'm in my 30s and I have a way smaller friendship group, I'm able to have deeper, genuine, like authentic, when we're both down and out, when we're both going through it, when we're both, you know what I'm saying? We're like I'm able to have a deeper connection because there's not like 11 women I'm trying to connect with or 20 women. It's like there's 3. You know what I'm saying? There's maybe 4. Like in some seasons there's just 2. So it's and then you just have this just deeper connection that's more meaningful and authentic. Absolutely. So just seeing what you guys are saying. Some people kind of regress when they're around old friends. Yep. I have no friends from uni. Um, and that's okay. I'm telling you, that's okay. You have time to spend with yourself, God. Quick question: would it be fair to say that some women, due to their fears they face in their 30s pertaining to financial security, tend to maliciously target men? I definitely think that there's a sector of women. I don't think that that's a norm for women. I don't think that women inherently want to target men, but there is a sector of women that definitely do that. So um, that's what I'll say about that. Okay, excuse me. Okay, oh, let me. My throat's starting to get dry. You guys know how it gets when my throat gets dry. So really, I didn't even realize I'm having so much fun on this live. I didn't even realize that it's almost been two. Well, it's going on 2 hours almost. Okay, next one in this article about women, women's fears and what they wish they would have known is it says it's not selfish to prioritize yourself, love yourself, make decisions that benefit you and not anyone else. This is so true. This is so true. Yes, I'm half Punjabi. This is so true. Um, I definitely did not do this in my 20s. Woo! If I had my self development game that I have now in my 20s, oh, I would have by now this age that I'm at now, I would have been unstoppable. If I would have had this develop this, but I mean, I guess it's part of life, right? You have to go through the trials and tribulations, and then you grow. But where I'm at now, it's number one. It's number one. Like, are you doing any, or what, when people say, "Hey, what are you doing on Friday?" Or what do they say? How do they word it? They say, "What are you doing on Friday?" I'll just say that. "What are you doing on Friday?" And you say, "Oh, nothing," or "I'm not sure yet." People will schedule themselves into your schedule. Don't say that. Don't say, "Oh, nothing." Just say, there's some things I got to get done, but what's up? Or because the thing is, like, sometimes you might get to that day and you might have been open to doing something, but then now you might have had a long day at work and you're like, I just kind of want to relax. Or maybe it was a tough day at work and you're just like, I just want to decompress, or I just don't want to talk. Like, I don't want to move my mouth and engage with anybody, not even a family member, a friend, or a spouse. Even you might want to, even if you have a husband or a wife and you might just want to be like, honey, I need to, honey, I need to just relax for a second and just kind of decompress. Like, it's okay to, like, be firm with your schedule and not be free. I used to get messed up with that a lot. Like, in my 20s, I'd be like, oh, and sometimes I probably did it to other people. I probably was like, I want to do something this weekend, and put other people in a weird position where I'm like, what are you doing on Friday? And they're like, oh, I'm not really sure. Okay, well, let's go do this. I didn't even ask if they were wanted to. And then it's happened to me. So definitely be more like grounded with your schedule. And if you know that you're kind of where you're at mentally, like, if you know yourself, just don't commit to things. Like, be okay with saying no. Be okay with saying, I'll have to get back to you. I'll let you know, like, if I'm interested. Like, you're allowed to say that. And you will learn about people. If people in your life are like, well, what do you mean? I need to know now. Or then you might need to, like, and that continues to happen and be a trend. You might need to have a conversation and set some boundaries, or you might learn that that might be someone that might phase out of your life. Because everyone that's in my life now, they know, like, because they've gone through the season too, where they're just like, I just want to chill. Like, I just want to be in bed at 9 p.m. straight up. Like, that's how it is with the women that are in my life now. It's like, I want to be in bed at 8:30. So, you know what? I actually don't have anything planned, and that's on purpose. Like, what are you doing Friday? Nothing's planned, and I'm leaving it open for myself. So, but what's up? I might change my mind. What's up? What do you got in mind? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's okay to have control over your life. I don't know. What do you guys think? I mean, is that what do men deal with that? With that too? Um, Let me know. There's some lovey-dovey stuff in here. I'm like, that's like a whole nother video in itself. Let's see. Ooh, this is a good one. Ooh, this is a good one. Let me see what you guys are saying before I move on. Facts, Mr. 30 or 305. I want to say Mr. 305. Mr. 358 says facts. Self-love is everything. It says, what am I doing on Friday? Getting platinum from AC for AC Unity. I'm not sure what that is, but yeah, I mean, look, I'm booked. Oh, well, you're just watching Netflix? Yeah, I'm booked. That's what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to be in my kitchen on Friday, like, making myself something to eat. Okay. That's my plans. It says, just want to chill, have fun, and gym, no time for others. I think that's an age thing. Yep. Workout, facts, boundaries in your 30s, big priority for growth. I remember when I was younger, I was out almost every weekend. In my 20s, I can't even lie. Like, I almost felt like that's what I was supposed to do in my 20s. And you don't have to do that. Like, there was times where I would, like, go out and, like, literally not want to be out at all. And then there was times I was out and I was having a blast and I loved it. So it was kind of like up and down for me, but I definitely felt like, okay, well, if I'm single, like, and I'm 23 years old, am I just supposed to, like, sit in the house and, like, stare at the wall? It was kind of like, culturally, there was, like, pressure to, like, well, that's what you're supposed to do in your 20s. And you're not supposed, like, you don't have to do that. You can definitely just read a book, like, learn a new skill, learn a new trade, take up a weekend class on art, like, do whatever you've always wanted to do. You don't have to be a part of the crowd. You don't have. So I definitely feel like I was part of the peer pressure with that. And I'm sure I also peer pressure, like I was part of it too. So I'm not saying going out is bad in your 20s, but you don't necessarily have to just do that. Like that's not the only thing there is to do. And I think that it also comes with some of it's not even all of our fault. It comes from TV. It comes from movies. It comes from, I guess maybe even reality TV shows now. It's like that's what you do. And you're young, you're just supposed to go out and get hammered. Like, no, you don't, you just don't have to. But this is a good one. It says, you can do this at any time. So if you're watching this on the replay and you're older than this, it doesn't matter. You can start this at any time. It says, educate yourself on all financial aspects of your life, taxes, 401k, investments, CDs. It'll set you up for a wonderful future. I took a major L in my 20s. This is probably the biggest L that I took in my 20s, was being completely clueless about money in my 20s. All that time is gone. Like I I was at 25, I was actually making a lot of money for like above average money for the average 25-year-old, and the ridiculous stuff that I was spending, the ridiculous things I was buying, spending my money on crap, clothes, makeup, weird trinkets, like just stuff. And all of that could have been in building up my 401k more, building up my savings account, building up, getting an investing account, CD, learning about the stock market. I was so intimidated by the stock market. I talk about uh, how I got out of debt. I'm completely debt free. So grateful and thankful, and all glory to God on that. But I figured it out in my 30s. Um, and it definitely feels like a weight is lifted off my shoulders. It wasn't like I had like a ton of debt either, but I had debt rolling in from my 20s to my 30s, just being silly with credit cards and not understanding how they worked, and even the psychology behind credit cards, like because you didn't earn the money, and then all you have is this token essentially that you get to swipe. It's like you're not really feeling that you're digging yourself into a hole. You just think that you have tokens, like credit on a token. And then you look at the account and you're like, oh my gosh, I owe all that. Like, so it's just, there's a lot of, I had a lot of immaturity when it came to, and I didn't know how to ask for help. Like, I didn't even know I was supposed to. Um, I kind of felt like I would just figure it out, which I did. So maybe some part of myself in my 20s knew that I would like finally check in. But you know what did it for me? It was the shutdown, the 2020 shutdown. The 2020 shutdown, it made me have nothing but time to learn about the stock market. I always have been fascinated by the stock market, but I actually took the time to like Google, okay, how to trade in, what is the stock market? What is a stock? What is buying and selling a stock? How does a stock work? Like I just literally the basic like newborn level of the stock market. I just started there. And then I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I do have the whole, I need to do a more like organized version of that, because I think I just talked about it mainly while I was driving in the car, but I do want to do a live where I really have like it listed out on what I did to get out of debt in my 20s, and some of the habits, the actual habits that I changed that were just unnecessary, were silly, and I just was like, whoa. And you guys, it's not a joke. A lot of us, like in the United States at least, people are in tears that are in their elder years right now, and they're not able to survive off of their social security and their 401k. They're going into their elder years with debt, not being able to live off of, the 2000 or $2,500 a month. And if you didn't really save, or you use your 401k throughout your life for other things, you're kind of left, in a really, really scary situation. And then if, in your 60s, if you have health conditions and things like that, it's just bad. So you're going to want to tap in and check in immediately. Okay? Immediately. I've been getting that I look like Maya my entire life. I can see that maybe we look like related, like cousins, but I don't think that we look alike like that. But I get it all the time. I think it's the big eyeballs and the big nose and the hair, just like the big curly hair. I don't know if she wears her hair curly like that anymore. Maybe she does. I haven't been on her Instagram in a while, but I think she's super cool. Maya, she's an American singer. I'm not sure what country you're from because we've been having people from all over the globe in here. So yeah, she's an American singer, and I believe she's half black, half Italian. I believe I could be wrong on that, but I think that she's black and Italian. So yeah, there's just kind of like the big eye thing, I think, happening. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's see. Um, so it says they polled several thousand women, and this is some of the stuff that they're worried about and that they wish they would have known in their 20s. I'm just making sure my phone's not going to die. It says, oh, this is a good one. It's a good one. And for the men in here, tap in, let me know if you resonate with some of the stuff that women are in their 30s are going through. Or if you're in your 40s, it doesn't matter. Just tap in. Also, like the video if you're resonating with this information. It says not everyone is going to like you, and that's 100% okay. I spent a lot of time trying to be nice to a lot of people who definitely did not deserve it. I tried to be as friendly as possible in every situation, which also meant that people treated me like SHIT. Turns out I don't even like 10% of people I meet, so who cares? So this is a really good one. And I'll be honest, this is not a big area that I had to deal with. I don't know why. Um, to be honest with you, naturally, I was able to make friends easy. People kind of gravitated like toward to me, and then they would like remove themselves. I've never really like reached out and tried to be friends with someone. Like I need to be their friend or I want to like be liked. I just I don't know where this comes from. If I were to just come up with a random theory about that, it's probably because I'm the oldest child, and for the first 4 years of my life, I was like entertained myself. Like I was my own best friend as a 4 year old. So it was like me as a 4 year old, three and a half, 4 year old, and then it was just adults. I didn't have any older cousins. I'm literally the oldest cousin. I'm the oldest granddaughter, the oldest grandchild. So I'm the oldest grandchild. I'm the oldest cousin. Period. I'm the oldest sibling. So I think something about that. It was just like I was the first kid in like after a generation of adults. So something about that. If I were to just come up with something, I feel like I just like knew how to self entertain. I knew how to self validate at a young age. Just kind of playing with playing with myself with my dolls or my blocks or I had dolls and cars. I just whatever, right? The Barbie car and stuff like that. So I definitely think that I don't know if I were to guess that that's why. So I didn't really deal with this, but I will say this is so cringy. I have seen people do this and ooh, okay, I'm remembering this one particular girl that I used to work with. It was a group of 8 women that we were all managers in this one particular store. 8 women, and there was like two of the women everybody like they like wanted to be like them. Like they were like the best at their job, they were gorgeous, they were, just magnetic, all this, right? And another one of the managers wanted to just be a part of these two so bad. And it was like the more she would try, it was like she just looked like pathetic. I'm not saying she was pathetic. The way that it looked was pathetic. And it was just like, you already you're great yourself. Like you're also awesome, but it was like something about this persona that these other two women had. They just wanted to just be a part of them and be liked and be validated. And she just kept giving compliments. She kept wanting to add forced value. She kept wanting to come up, make plans, and I'll do it. I'll pay for it. I'll set it up. I'll plan the dinner. I'll plan the event. Please, I'm begging you, come, be next to me. Can I go to lunch with you? Can I? Oh my God, you're so gorgeous. Oh my God, your hair. Oh my gosh, your face. Oh my gosh, what you said the other day at the meeting was just so amazing. Oh my gosh, you were just the smartest woman I've ever met. And it just was like cringy to watch. It was so cringy to watch. um, okay. Okay, so let me see what you guys are saying. All right. Says, I remember when I was younger, I'm 23 right now and just do sports consistently, barely go out because I don't drink. That's so good. You are ahead of the game. I'm telling you. At 23, just focus on sports, focus on staying active and not going out and not drinking alcohol. You are ahead of the game. I'm telling you, you're going to see the fruit of your behaviors and your choices when you're in your 30s. You're going to see that this lifestyle that you're harvesting right now is going to pay off. Same here. I can't be mad at myself because I didn't know any better. I just try to teach my daughter. Oh, I also looked into velocity banking. I still gotta like really dive into it, but I follow that woman that you told me about on YouTube now. I just want to work. I just want to work normal for a bit, then open up a firm that I have in mind. Wow, you already want to open up a firm at 20? Yeah, that's awesome. I hate stock market calculations. Hated the financial. Well, yeah, I mean it is. It's not the funnest thing, but I just hit Google, hit YouTube, and said how to learn about stocks, and like all these cool young people that like understand those calculations, they've been gifted from God to just be able to explain it in a way that's fun and interesting and inspiring and makes you want to be a part of it. So I like because I have a degree in business marketing. So getting my degree in business marketing, we had to take all these different like financial courses, accounting, all that kind of stuff, right? And all that was it super intimidating and I did not like it. I was actually pretty good. I actually got good grades in it, surprisingly, but I didn't enjoy it. But just learning the good old basics from someone that can explain it really good actually made it enjoyable for me. So I actually really enjoy listening to the stock market. There's actually someone that I listen to daily. Um, it's called the Stock Market Live. So if you type in the Stock Market Live, and I think it's also affiliated with the trading fraternity. His name is Josh. He's hilarious. He literally just is on live, alive from 6:30. Let me get some more to drink. From 6:30 a.m. all the way until market close, he's on live. So you can like tap in, tap out, tap in. And the way that he explains the stock market and breaks it down, it just makes sense to me. And he's like, it's almost like I'm listening to a comedy show as well. So I'm not married yet, but I'm trusting God for my husband to come. I know people have been asking me that this entire life, but this is about, diving in. This is about diving in to things that we are worried about, that we're nervous about, that we're scared about. Women, especially in their 30s and 40s, that they wish they would have known in their 20s, but we are making the changes now. Okay, so um, let's see what else you guys are saying. Let's see. Let me see. I'm gonna block that person. I'm from the United States. That's so interesting. I don't I don't usually get asked what country I'm from because usually I'm like always talking to Americans. But this is super dope. People are tapping in from all over the globe. So it's cool to be asked that question. So yeah, what country? Um, very Maya. That's funny. Okay, so what else? All right, so I'm going to say this last one, and then I'm going to take any questions that anyone has, and we will wrap it up for the day. Also, I have an ebook if anyone's interested about losing weight. I have an ebook on how I've been able to lean out. You can see my arm, the definition of my arms are coming in. You can tap in with that down below in the link in the description under the link. Okay, it says, okay, this is a big one. I mean, it's funny. I didn't even set that up like that, but this is the next one. It says, don't disregard your physical health. It wasn't until my 20s that I realized internalize. I wasn't okay. Wait, it says it wasn't until my 20s that I really internalized the concept that working out and eating healthy were the rewards, not the punishments. Absolutely, this is a big one. I will say this. My page is really about health, fitness, and mindfulness, and all of that. And I'll really be just flat out honest. When I was younger, being in shape or being fit or being healthy, it was more so for making sure the exterior is kept up with. Now heading into 40s, the looks department is at the very bottom of the list. Okay? I think it has to do with also not caring about what people think. I'm not trying to keep up with the 22-year-old woman. I'm not trying to keep up with the 21-year-old. I'm not trying to keep up with the 28-year-old woman. I just want to be the best I can be at every stage of my life for myself in my own lane. Okay? I'm not trying to keep up with any other woman in any degree. So I've seen what happens to our bodies when they break down. Again, because I took care of my grandmother, I was always at the doctor's office, tons of elderly people all over the place all the time, falling all the time, bones cracking and breaking, hip replacements, all these things. And I'm like, you know what? I want to be a very healthy, thriving 60, 70, 80-year-old person. And it's going to start with what I'm doing now. So keeping up with my bone density, like there's like these weighted vests that you can wear, and it like is powerful for keeping your bones really strong. Weight training for your health. Basically when you build muscle, you're basically building muscle like mineral packs, vitamin and mineral packs onto your body to like sustain you and to be healthy throughout your life. So yeah, there is some benefits that happen. Like a lot of times, people think I'm in my 20s, right? It's because like they think, oh, I thought you were 28. Oh, I thought you were 29. And it is because I do keep up with my health and my fitness and my mind, right? You got to make sure your mind is right because your mind can also age you, being super stressed and things like that. Um, but health and fitness, you got to start to I would highly encourage you to change the way that you're looking at it because it will feel like a chore. It will feel like punishment. It will feel like torture if you are doing it just for vanity. Like you will stress yourself out and actually not lose the weight because your cortisol levels are to the roof because you're so stressed about not looking a certain way, not looking like you used to when you were younger, not you know, comparing yourself to another woman. It's like for the guys too, it's like just don't do that. Don't do that. Just focus on your lane and break down everything that you want to enhance in your life, mind, body, and soul. And as you work on those things, you will just be exuding such magnetism and radiance and vibrance. And people will just like, you'll start to just look better, not necessarily because you look younger, but usually what are the attributes of looking younger? It's like, usually it's kind of a more stress-free feeling, right? Their skin, like the way that they view life is more innocent. It's their perspective is just it's not worn down and beaten down and not jaded. So they don't have a lot of heaviness on themselves, right? So when you do the work in your 30s and your 40s and your 50s, because you look lighter, like you look like you are less stressed, you look like you're not, you're not so angry all the time, you're not, just kind of in this rigid, woe is me, the victim, life's beating me down, like, just like that kind of energy. You're going to look more youthful because you're going to just be radiating. um I don't know. It's just like this. You guys know what I'm saying? It's like just this lighter feeling. Like, when you're around someone, you're like, ooh, they just feel heavy. Like you just feel it on them. Like they're the way that their facial expression is, the way that they're reacting to stuff, the way that they're talking to the waitress, the way that they're opening up something. You know what I'm saying? And with yourself, with you, um, the way that they're like looking at their eye contact, just all of that. But when you're around someone that they're calm, they're cool, they're collected, they're talking at like a good cadence, they're pleasant, they have this pleasant energy on them. I don't know what else to call it other than energy. It's just like this aura, this energy. And you do look youthful. So, plus autophagy makes you look younger. Absolutely. Absolutely. I need a weighted vest. Yes. I actually want to order one on Amazon too, because I do have a walking pad right over here. I have one actually in my room and my living room, but a weighted vest is so powerful and a game changer for not only losing weight, but literally building your bones. And it like just throwing on an extra 7 pounds and walking, you wouldn't think it would do much, but it actually, I guess it has like this crazy amount. Like there's all these studies on what it can do for your bones. Thank you so much for the compliment. So I'm going to go ahead and tap out. I've been on here. This is the first time I've been on for 2 hours. That was fun. So I'm going to go ahead and tap out. Thank you guys for listening to my brother's story. Definitely pray for him and his family, and my mom. That was a really, really horrific situation and circumstance. If you're coming on now, you're going to want to wait till I post this video. I'm going to just, right when I log out, I'm going to post it. You're going to want to rewind and watch the beginning of the video. The first 30 minutes was all about the horrific situation that happened to my brother's family last night. It was terrible. So thanks for everyone that listened to that story and had just were sending your good energy to my brother. And that's really it. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe. Okay. Tap in with me. Sign up with my email list. I don't care to spam you guys. I'm just going to announce, hey, I just dropped a new video. Hey, just did a live, catch the replay. Hey, I'm going to go live later. It's just a way. It's literally me. It's literally me with my own fingers saying, hey, catch up with me. I just posted a live. I just posted a video. Or, hey, check out this like really cool thing that I just tried out. If you want to tap in with it, I don't care to like have like this weird spammy funnel thing. I just don't want to do that. But I do want to be able to connect with you directly and not only connect with all my subscribers just on YouTube. All right. So tap in. And I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day and we'll chat soon. Bye.